Not too bad, Keely. Not too bad. It was Summer Game Fest last night as I recording this video, and I think it was pretty good. A lot of new games announced and more information for games that we already knew were going to be releasing. Now, I don't want to talk about literally every single game that appeared at this showcase because that's way too many games, but I do want to talk about the ones that interested me the most. We're starting right off the bat with Resident Evil Veronica, which is a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now, the Resident Evil franchise is just on, well, saying a hot streak would be putting it mildly. Now, I'm a new Resident Evil fan, so I only started playing the games just before Resident Evil 2 Remake released, but I've been so impressed with what they've done, and this Code Veronica remake, we only saw a little bit of it. Apparently it's based on the intro cutscene to the original game, but they seem to be expanding it a bit more, so that's cool to see. And it's also cool to see Claire Redfield back. I love Claire Redfield. She was really cool in Resident Evil 2, and it also lends credence to the rumors that they were working, so the rumors were saying that they were working on a Code Veronica remake, and then they were also working on a Resident Evil 0 remake. So this lends credence to the fact that we're going to be getting a 0 remake next. And then there were also rumors saying they were going to do a second remake of Resident Evil 1 after Code Veronica and 0. So that's the timeline, the rumored timeline for Resident Evil games at the moment. And I tell you what, I'm down for it. I haven't actually finished Requiem yet, so I should probably get on that, because the Code Veronica remake it just looks like it's gonna, I haven't even seen much of it, but you can just tell that it's gonna be up to the same kind of quality as all of the past Resident Evil games that we had for however many years now. So that was awesome. Next up, we've got Mighty Cuphead Adventure, which is an 8-bit, well, they said 8-bit. I don't know if it's exactly 8-bit, but it's that kind of style of game. A new Cuphead game from the 8-bit era, which seems really, really cool. I've never played the original Cuphead, but this one just looks interesting to me. And then they said they were making a new Cuphead game in the same animated style as the original Cuphead game. So that's great. These games are really, really popular. So that's nice to see. But then we have Alien Isolation 2. I haven't finished the first one. I got to that bit in the medical section. If you've played the game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Scared the living daylights out of me. I couldn't play it myself. I had to watch other people play it on YouTube all the way to the end. But I love Alien Isolation so much. It really felt like a great continuation of the movies. Having Amanda Ripley as the main character really gave it that sense of connection, to the original Alien, to aliens. Now, one thing I did really love about the first Alien Isolation was the fact that it was on a space station, and you could really see, you could look out the windows, you could just see space, and that was really cool. This new one is set on a colony world, so there isn't going to be that sense of awe when you look out the window. Like, it doesn't feel like you're stranded in the middle of space. That feeling isn't going to be there. It's going to be you're stranded on a hostile world, which is still great. But, I suppose it's the same kind of thing as Alien versus Aliens, because the original Alien was set. Sure, they went down to the planet, and that's how they got the xenomorph, but most of that movie takes place in space, right? And then Aliens, most of that takes place on a colony world. So I guess Creative Assembly are just following that format here with Isolation. Either way, I'm really looking forward to it. The trailer looks fantastic. Whether it turns out to be the best thing in the world or just okay, doesn't matter to me. I just love the fact that there's another atmospheric survival horror single player alien game coming out. That's just great in itself. Now, we did already know that Alien Isolation 2 was coming, but still. Right, next one on my list is Gen Atlas, which is Fumito Ueda's new game, the guy behind such hits as Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. I've played Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian, haven't played Ico, but Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian are fantastic games, I think. Not perfect, but fantastic nonetheless. Those games are more about the story than they are the actual game, but I suppose the gameplay and the story are tied together really symbiotically, I guess. And it looks like it's going to be the same thing here with Gen Atlas. The fact that it's in the sci-fi genre as well, which is very different to Ueda's past games. Kind of. It just looks very interesting. And Ueda always makes really fascinating games. So this one is probably just going to be very similar in that respect. And that's why I'm looking forward to it. Crossfire is the next game I want to talk about. Now, originally I thought Crossfire was a pretty generic name, but apparently it's based on a multiplayer franchise. So it's like a single player narrative experience based on that multiplayer franchise. It looks cool though. Apparently it's got a different kind of cover system, and it's got great motion capture. The visuals look good. It looks polished. It looks well made. And that's why I'm talking about it here, because it does look like it could be a fun action game with quite a deep storyline. I mean, that's what they were saying at Summer Game Fest, is that it's a very narrative driven adventure. So that's what makes me interested in it. But I don't know anything about Crossfire. the series, so guess I'd better look it up. 1666 Amsterdam. Okay, this is a game that has been in development for a very long time, spearheaded by Patrice Désilets, who worked with Ubisoft on Assassin's Creed. You can kind of tell that it has a bit of that Assassin's Creed inspiration behind it in terms of it being a game where you're hunting people in a period setting, but it just seems to have supernatural qualities to it as well. Apparently there's a prologue available. I haven't played it yet, but I like the vibe of what I'm seeing. I like the vibe of it. Some people have been saying it sounds like Assassin's Creed Hex, but I think it's more accurate to say that Assassin's Creed Hex is going to be similar to 1666 Amsterdam, because this game has been in development for a lot longer than Assassin's Creed Hex, and given the tumultuous relationship between Ubisoft and Patrice Désilets, it wouldn't surprise me if they saw what he was doing and were like, oh yes, we'll do something similar to that. But apparently Assassin's Creed Hex has changed its vision at this point. It was originally going to have some more supernatural elements. I think the rumor is that they've taken those out now, so they could be very different games. But 1666 looks interesting, and I probably will play the prologue or look it up online, who knows. It does look really cool so far in terms of the atmosphere. I'm looking on Steam at the moment actually to look at the story synopsis, and it says every 333 years something stirs. 1666 Amsterdam is a third-person dark story-led action-adventure where Noah the Collector wields witchcraft to uncover demonic entities hiding behind human faces. That's just a really cool idea, and the fact that you can control a cat as well, and the cat is called Aaron. It's a cat called Aaron. Okay, yeah. Great stuff. Star Wars Galactic Racer, next game I want to talk about. This game looks fantastic from what I've seen. The actual racing itself, the fact that there's pod racing in the game, but not just pod racers, there's a whole bunch of different vehicles. But there was one part in the trailer that made me go, ooh. Which is where you see the first normal human model rather than the alien models that we've seen before. And the human model did look a little bit rough, but for a game like this, I mean, like, you don't expect Forza Horizon to have the greatest human models, do you? It's not about that. It's about the vehicles. It's about the racing. Same thing with Galactic Racer. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is the racing itself, the fact that it's very Burnout. I miss Burnout a lot, and I miss the fact that you can just take out vehicles as you're driving in slow motion. You see them exploding, like that whole Burnout signature style has been missing for a long time now. So I'm glad that it's back with Galactic Racer. Seems really cool. And then sticking with the Star Wars theme, Zero Company. I'm not a tactical strategy kind of guy, but I like what I'm seeing so far of Zero Company, and I think a lot of people have liked what they've seen as well. It's been getting very good previews. Things to be set during the Clone Wars. I'm getting a bit tired of stories that are set during the Clone Wars at this point, but this game seems to be quite deep. It's got that strategy, but it's also got that kind of RPG style continuing narrative. I know that in games like XCOM, you can permanently lose members of your squad, and it's exactly the same in Zero Company, which is really cool. Apparently you can resolve conflicts between different characters as well. They have different personalities and worldviews. Characters develop strong bonds together. If they participate in combat operations frequently with each other, they can unlock new gameplay benefits. This game just has a lot of stuff to it, which is really cool. So this may be something that finally gets me into this kind of tactical strategy genre, maybe. And next we have the Blood of Dawnwalker, which I'd heard of before Summer Game Fest, but it's a vampire game. Now, I love the concept of vampires, but I love the concept of more horrific vampires, I guess. I love Dracula, Salem's Lot, that kind of thing. This one seems like it's following more in those footsteps than it is the more, you know, kind of romantic vampire fiction out there. This is very dark fantasy. It's an action role-playing game as well. Someone who worked on The Witcher 3 is directing the game, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be up to the same quality as The Witcher 3, but the game does seem to be a very deep action RPG, which is great. Oh, the game takes about 50 to 70 hours to beat. It's a long game. Although I'm looking at the information about this game now, and apparently the player has 30 days and nights to achieve the goal. Exploring the open world does not advance the time, but if you do plot-specific quests, things like that, that will advance the time. So yeah, I'm not usually a fan of time limits when it comes to games like this. The exception would be something like Majora's Mask, because that is a constantly never-ending time loop. It has a time limit, but you can go back to the beginning and things will save, and you can play it for as long as you want. This game seems like it has a hard limit, but it could work. It could work. It looks like a very interesting game. The fact that you can play it for 50 to 70 hours, that's a long time. So I suppose I wouldn't be too worried about the time limit. Yeah, cool game. The Wolf Among Us 2 was announced as well, and I keep forgetting that Telltale is back. I never actually played The Wolf Among Us, so thankfully they're releasing it. A remastered version later this year. That's great. And then we'll have the second one available next year. So that's all good stuff. Telltale games I have generally liked. The ones I have played. I played their Back to the Future game. I thought that was really good, actually. I thought it was a great sequel to the original trilogy. They even brought back Christopher Lloyd to voice Doc Brown, and they even had Michael J. Fox as one of Marty's ancestors or descendants. I can't remember which one. I think it was his ancestor. Then they also did Tales from the Borderlands, the original season of Tales from the Borderlands. And that was, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say it's one of the best story-based experiences that I've ever had in gaming. I can't even tell you why that is. It was just something about it was just like lightning in a bottle. And the fact that it was Borderlands as well was really surprising. The Game of Thrones series wasn't as good, but their Batman series, now that was a good one. I really enjoyed their Batman series. So it's great that they're back, and it's great that I know The Wolf Among Us was a really popular one, really well loved when it came out. So it's great to see it back, and it's great to see it's getting a sequel. And lastly, can't not talk about Final Fantasy VII Revelation. I never finished the original Final Fantasy VII, but I did finish Final Fantasy VII Remake and integrate the Yuffie DLC. I haven't played Rebirth yet. I really need to get on it because Revelation is coming the beginning of next year. Spring next year, so I need to get on it. But I loved Remake. I adored that game. I think I haven't played Rebirth yet just because of the fact that when it came out on PS5 it was not looking so hot. The game itself was fantastic, but it looked terrible. Apparently it looks better on PS5 Pro, but I don't have a PS5 Pro. I do have a gaming PC, so that's probably what I'll get it on. Either way, I still need to play it. But Revelation looks fantastic. It just looks like it's a continuation of Remake and Rebirth in a way that makes sense. I mean, they've made it so if you play these games back to back, you're gonna feel right at home. You know, it's one game just in 3 parts, so even if there are enhancements with each game, there is still a continuation, a nice cohesive flow there. Yeah, Square Enix and Final Fantasy are a bit of a weird place at the moment. Final Fantasy 16, at least nowadays, it's not the most well received Final Fantasy game. Obviously 15 was quite something, but the 7 remakes have been really good so far. So I'm hoping and assuming that Revelation will be very similar to those. Okay, so those are the main games I wanted to talk about. Obviously there was a ton more stuff at Summer Game Fest, but those are the main games I wanted to talk about. But just a little bonus here, I want to mention the fact that Toy Story Retro Roundup is a thing that was announced on the same day of Sony's State of Play. And that's just such a fantastic thing because Toy Story 2 on the PS1 was a really significant game in my childhood, as was Toy Story Racer actually, but I did get frustrated with the controls in that game. But the fact that you have the original Toy Story game, you got Toy Story 2, you got Toy Story Racer, and you got Buzz Lightyear Star Command, and you got A Bug's Life as well, which is, it was a game that Traveller's Tales made before Toy Story 2, and so it's quite similar to Toy Story 2 in terms of its structure, so it makes sense that it's there in the collection. It has behind the scenes interviews with some of the people behind the games as well. And then you also got Toy Story 3 Complete Edition. And now I haven't played the Toy Story 3 game, but it looks great. Just the fact that it's bringing everything together into one big package, because I know there were different versions of Toy Story 3, so the fact that it's just all going to be there, you're going to have a definitive edition of it on modern consoles. Good stuff. I'll always be a fan of collections like this, and I think there was a Rugrats collection that released not too long ago as well, although the Rugrats collection was published by Limited Run Games and developed by Mighty Rabbit Studios. And Limited Run Games, they had a Jurassic Park collection that was just recently delisted, but that was not the greatest in terms of the emulation. There were bugs that they just never ironed out. It was really a pretty subpar collection, so I don't know what the reaction is to Rugrats, but I do know that Toy Story Retro Roundup is being made by Digital Eclipse, who were the people behind things like the Mega Man Legacy Collection, the original Legacy Collection. Digital Eclipse know what they're doing, so I'm very much looking forward to it when it comes out later this year. That's it. Those are my thoughts on Summer Game Fest. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Summer Game Fest, and if there are any other games that I haven't mentioned here that you're really excited about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.